Today marks 3 years since the passing of my son, Emanuel Prewitt.
3 years, and they're still trying to survive the unthinkable. It was a long and painful process for Kelly Prewitt, taking 7 days to find her son. He drowned in Herrington Lake while trying to swim across. It's why she now advocates for water safety.
Hopefully plant a seed of thought, where people will stop and just take the time to realize, what's going on around them, especially when they're, out on an open body of water.
Prewitt started the nonprofit Swim Smart, and over the past few years, they've created life jacket loaner stations. Her goal is to build 17.
We've got enough money raised right now to build 14 more stations. And my goal is 17 in total. Emanuel was 17 when he passed. His jersey number was 17 at one point. That was his favorite number anyway. But
she says it's about leaving a legacy in his name. On a day that she calls bittersweet, she remembers the impact he left on others, surrounded by dozens in their community.
He was just a very kind, sweet person. He would do anything he could for his friends and even people that he didn't know.
As sunshine glistens over the water, they reflect on the bright life Manny led.
Yeah, I think he'd be proud. I think he'd be proud that people still come together and, just take a moment in remembrance and just, I don't know. I think he'd be touched by it, really.
In Madison County,
1, 2, 3.
Julia Sandor,
Love you, baby boy.
WKYT.